Hi everyone, it's Teresa Green with Slow Past Wellness, and this is Mindful Monday. Today I wanted to do a mindful meditation that I thought of this week that really was fun to do, and I think you'll enjoy it too. In fact, if you have any kids, this might be a really fun one for them as well. So the first thing I want you to do is make yourself comfortable, whether you're standing or sitting or laying down, whatever works for you, and you can either watch me as we do this meditation, but there's not anything you have to be able to see as far as instructions go, so closing your eyes is fine. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, and they don't have to be exaggerated deep, just comfortably deep breaths. Now, close your eyes and just picture a beautiful tree, a beautiful outdoor scene. You can have one tree, you can have 80 trees, just whatever seems like what you want for your own little vision of what's going on. Picture a scene where you're looking out and there are trees. And make it pleasant, make it something you enjoy looking at. So just take a kind of a breath or two where you just sort of take in the scene that you're creating in your head with trees there. Right now, I want you, however many trees there are on in your little vision of trees, I want you to pick one. And if you only have one tree, I want you to really focus on that tree to the exclusion of anything that may be surrounding it. And as you're focusing on that tree, we're going to first notice everything you can see about your tree in your mind's eye. So the visual things that you created in your mind about this tree, what colors there are, whether it's red or green or brown, or it's your tree. It could be purple or orange or green or fuchsia. It's up to you. Whatever colors are in your tree, just picture that and try to see if there's different shades going through your tree. Like my tree is an autumn tree, and it's got some orangey colors and some green colors and a little bit of a yellowy red tint going on in there. And that's what I'm seeing with my tree. Whatever you see in your tree, just focus on that and just really focus on how your eye enjoys looking at those colors for a little bit. We'll take another couple of breaths of that. And now I want you to go even closer in with your tree. Go really, really close in to where you can see the leaves and look at your little leaf in your mind's eye for your tree, and you can see the little veins in the leaves. Sometimes when you're a kid in school, they may have had you take one leaf and put it under a piece of paper and scribble with a pencil across it so you could see all the details of all the little veins on the tree. Picture that in your head, what you can see when you take one leaf off of your tree and you look at it really, really closely, the colors and the way that the lines are on it. Just really focus on that in your mind's eye for another couple of breaths. Right now, in your mind, picture yourself moving the focus back so that you're seeing the whole tree again. And this time, in your mind's eye again, try to turn off the video feed and picture what you hear there with your tree. It may be a breeze, it may be some birds singing in the tree, maybe a dog barking or a cow mooing or a rooster crowing or a big train going by. Just within your little world of your imaginary tree or your imaginary trees, what is it that you're hearing? And just for a couple of breaths, focus on the sounds that you are hearing in your imagination with this imaginary scene with the tree in it. And now, as you're doing that, if you focus, bring your focus in to one sound. So if you're hearing the rooster, or if you're hearing a train, or if you're hearing the breeze, try to focus really tightly on that sound in your mind's eye. So is it high-pitched or low-pitched? Is it loud or soft? Is it long? Is it a soft, like if it's a bird, is it like a chirpy kind of sound, or is it something that's a longer sound like a wind would be? And there's no right or wrong. Just focus on what those sounds are for another couple of breaths. Okay, now I'm going to step back again in your mind's eye, pull your focus back a little bit, and we're going to go to what you can smell in your imagination in this tree vista that you've created. So do you smell, like when in my imagination, my sounds were little birds chirping and little squirrels scuttling around and stuff and making those little barky squirrel noises that they make. And then for the scents that I smell, when I'm smelling in the area, I smell wood burning, because evidently in my imaginary tree, some tree world, somewhere there's a house that has a fireplace going. And I smell that kind of dirt smell, that nice, fresh, healthy dirt smell that a lot of times you can smell out in the country. And so as I breathe in and imagine I'm breathing those scents in, it creates a sense of just a kind of a peaceful feeling of smelling things that are alive there in my little world of trees. So you do the same thing. What is it that you're smelling? Are you smelling dirt? Are you smelling fire? Are you smelling a hot dog stand? Because in your imaginary tree world, there's a guy selling hot dogs there, or popcorn, or whatever you smell. Go ahead and just focus on what scents you come across in your imaginary tree vista. And do that for a couple of breaths. All right, now we're going to go pull our focus again, and we're going to focus on what you can touch within your tree vista. So in my case, the air is cool in my imaginary tree land, and if I reach down, untouch the ground, I can feel the real soft grass, the kind of feathery feeling of grass, and I can pick up a pine cone and feel how it has a little bit of a pointy section to it, or I can reach out and I can touch one of the leaves, and from my leaves are kind of velvety feeling in my mind, and you can feel the little ridges where the little veins come from, or are on the tree, and I can feel the bark, and my bark on my tree is kind of smooth feeling. So go ahead for yourself and give yourself about 3 breaths and just see what you can feel. What's the temperature? What texture do the things around you have? Is it hot or cold? Is it warm, or do you feel warmth like where the sun's coming at you in some places and it's cooler where the shade is? Just try to make a complete picture in your head just of what you can feel. And when you're standing, are you sitting? Are you feeling the way your body sits, sitting on dirt or on a bench? Or are you just standing and feeling the crunch, the leaves kind of dry and crunchy under your feet? Just whatever it is that you feel in your tree vista. We're going to take about 3 breaths and just feel that. Now, we're going to open up all your senses again and just imagine that you are there in your tree vista world, and so you can see it, and you can hear it, and you can smell it, and you can touch it, and you have all of your senses engaged while you're here in your tree vista, and just kind of look at it. And look at the whole picture. So if you have a whole forest you're looking at, or if your tree is one part of a vista where there's a house or a town or some other animals, or just a tree with a field beside it, whatever it is that you see, just taking that whole picture for about 2 breaths. zero in again. Just go down all the way down to one leaf, or if you have a pine tree in your picture, the little pine needle, the single pine needle, just zoom in where they're focusing on that for about 2 breaths. All right, now zoom back out again for your whole great big picture. And now into this picture, put something that you like. Put a creature or a person that you like. It can be your favorite person, it can be a favorite pet, it can be some animal that you've never actually encountered in real life, but you've always wanted to, like a unicorn or a lion or an eagle, or whatever it is that for you would be a really cool thing to be connected with, thing or person in your tree vista. Put them in there. And once you get them where you feel like they're in there all right, then make eye contact. You and the creature or the person, and make it be friendly contact. So you're looking at this creature and it's looking back at you and it's happy to see you. And if you want to, it can run over here and you can pet it. That's fine. But just the idea is you're connecting with another creature and you're feeling that connection and you're enjoying that connection, and so is the person or creature on the other side of it. So now for a couple of breaths, just feel how nice it is to feel connected to another being. Right, now we're going to wrap up the meditation now. So what I want you to do is to feel the things that you enjoyed about this meditation, and to feel very deeply, just, wow, I enjoyed that. The idea that I am enjoying something that I've done and enjoying my time with this other being in my meditation. And I want you to tell that being, say, I'm going to go away now, but I was very happy to see you, and anytime I want to, I'll be able to come back and we'll be able to connect again. We'll be able to be in this beautiful place together. So for a couple breaths, just think about how it feels to have been in a place that you created in your head that was very, very pleasant, and that you were able to connect with another being, even if it's an imaginary being in your head, and how much you enjoyed that feeling of connection and that feeling of being in a place that was very pleasant. All right, now that's the end of the meditation. So if that was nice and you're happy with that, and you're not interested in hearing any of the little bit of explanation about what this meditation does for your brain, then you can just stop right now. And for anyone who would like to hear a little bit more, I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about what you're doing for your brain with this meditation. So the first thing is, anytime you put yourself in a situation where you're able to create a sensation in your brain that's pleasant and pleasurable, you're doing all kinds of good things for your brain health. It changes the way your brain works, as far as whether it's looking for risks or not, so it feels safe. It creates a sense of safety. It creates a sense of enjoyment, which can deal with all the nice happy pleasure chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. It can help the different parts of your brain work together, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And they've done studies where with different blood markers, and we can do some research together sometime later to find out the exact blood markers and the exact different things that it helps. But they've actually shown that doing something like that makes an immediate change in some of the things that create health in your body, and the way that your brain chemistry and your body chemistry and your nervous system work together. The easiest one to explain is it takes you out of the fight or flight stress response that most people are in most of the day, because the flashy lights on our computers stimulate that in our brains, and the fact that we're usually stressed and always feel like there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough fun, not enough of yourself to give to your responsibilities, and all that not enough feeling creates a sense of stress in your brain. And so being somewhere where you're able to create a happy sense, where things are peaceful gives your brain a chance to feel the side of life that is nice and take those threat responses down some and to feel safe. Now, the part where we went focusing in on a detail and then pulling back out again, that exercises the parts of the brain that deal with focus and with generalized thinking. And that's a really good part to work on, because what happens a lot of times, especially when we're dealing with all of the different to-do lists that we have, is we either get overwhelmed by the big picture, or we forget the big picture and get completely obsessed about tiny details. And by giving your brain a fairly pleasant version of an exercise where it's going big picture, focus, big picture, focus, you're giving it a chance to exercise bouncing between those two states, so that when you come across a problem or when you come across something in your life, you're able to both focus on the issue while not losing the big picture behind you. And that's also where the idea of trying out all the different senses, I based that part, I pulled that from the Wheel of Awareness meditation by Dan Siegel, and he did a very no frills version of it, where you just go through and listen, see what you can hear, then see what you can see, then see what you can feel, and all the different senses. And just as an exercise, because going through each one of those helps the brain take each one of those, the parts of the brain that deal with each one of those different senses, and helps it to work well together. So I just stuck it in an imaginary scenario so that you're able to do it in a way that's a little bit more fun. So we have those, and then the last part where you're connecting with the other being, that's another part that I borrowed from Dan Siegel's Wheel of Awareness exercise, and that is a way to help work your mirror neurons. The mirror neurons are the parts of your brain that help you try to figure out what another being is seeing. And so what you're doing in that case is your brain is coming to an understanding that you're not the only person in the universe, and it's taking other people's feelings and other people's thoughts into consideration, and just interacting with another person, especially in a way that is non-confrontational and kind and compassionate, exercises those neurons. And it can actually happen whether it's a person or an animal. It's just that sense of connection is stimulating that in a positive way in your brain is a very healthy thing. It helps you to feel safer. It also helps you, the parts of your body that deal with immune system function a lot of times are helped by that, because when you feel threatened, when you feel like this person out there is the other and you have to protect yourself from them, then you end up making chemicals to gear up in case in case your immune system is attacked. Looking at the people out there and thinking, oh, this is my friend, then the chemicals that are unnecessary in if there's not an actual attack go down, but the part of your body that's able to handle an attack if it happens actually goes up a little bit as far as overall immune system function, not being in attack mode or fight or flight. That's what you're minimizing, and that's a good thing, because when you minimize it when you don't need it, you're better able to use it when you do. So that's the meditation for today for Mindful Monday, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next Monday.